You knew that.
That I'm familiar with. Yeah.
You know Benny's really good joke? My son?
Wow. Nachas, let's hear it.
He gets up on stage and he says, hey, I'm not the only famous Jewish singer from Minnesota. There's also Bob Dylan. And between the two of us, we have sold millions of albums.
That's very funny. I think a lot of people don't know about Benny that he's a very funny and witty guy. He's sharp. I wonder where he gets that from.
Yeah, I wonder.
That's fantastic. What is, just to get a little personal, first of all, what inspired you to get into this line of work? Like, was there someone growing up, someone maybe other than the Rebbe, a mentor or something that you saw, some sort of, what was that fire, that passion within you that you wanted to step into this leadership? A, and B, do you enjoy it? Do you enjoy the spotlight? Do you enjoy, being the performance of it all?
I think it's obvious that I enjoy it. It's hard to hide. But it was, I think, a two-step. First of all, I fell in love with Hasidus. Secondly, there were pegishas. I remember back in the late 50s, early 60s.
Before my time.
Where college students would come to Crown Heights, and the best speakers would speak to them about, and I heard Hasidus being spoken in English. And the students were so moved. I said, I got to do this. I got to do this. Let me out of yeshiva. I got to do this.
Yeah.
So I got married early. I was the youngest in my group, 21.
21, you got married? Wow.
Yeah. Because I can't wait. I got to do this. So Hasidus in English that inspires people, irresistible.
Wow. And how old were you when you wrote and published Why Don't We Blush Anymore?
That was 1990.
Year I was born.
But before that, 1970, I moved to Minnesota.
Yeah.
With my wife and baby. And we started Beis Chana, which was really funny because it was a joke. We're sitting around, we have this big house, just bought the big Chabad house, many bedrooms. And we're sitting around in the summer, everybody's out of town, schools are closed, university is closed. What are we going to do with this big building? So somebody said, there is a yeshiva, Baal Tshuva yeshiva for men, there's nothing for women. Who are they going to marry? It was a joke.
Right.
We said, so let's do something for women. We did. And since then, over 30,000 women have come through Beis Chana.
That's amazing. Wow. Yeah. What an incredible accomplishment. Do you know no.
Good percentage became
wonderful,
observant. But here was the challenge. You sit down with these women. Like the first year, all the women that came had been the radicals of the 60s. Burning down universities. I mean, these were tough ladies.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally. Feminists.
And they wanted answers, or they were going to burn down the Chabad house.
Oh.
And where do you start? Where do you start? They didn't even have nostalgia to work with, Remember your grandmother used to bake challah? Not my grandmother. What are you talking about? There was nothing
to hold on to start foundation.
So their question, spoken or unspoken, was, what do I need this for? Convince me.
So why were they coming in the first place?
We sent out a little flyer that said, come study the purpose of life. They walked in and said, you know the purpose of life? I dare you, tell me.
That was actually one of the first, instead of opening with the sex, I was either, let's start with something light. What is the purpose of life? That's my first question. But
yeah,
sex seemed a bit more like...
You save the light stuff for later.
Exactly.
Anyway, so it became so clear. They don't need it. Whoever said we need it? So way back then, I realized we're not talking about our needs. Otherwise, we're finished. So it became we're here to serve him. If he needs nothing, we can't serve him. If we can't serve him, what are we doing? Getting yourself to heaven? I'm not interested.
So moving forward, what are two things that perhaps a person can do to find answers or find for himself or herself a connection to a higher power or the purpose for their life?
The first thing is you have freedom of choice. And the choice you need to make is a very simple one. You can be needy or you can be needed. That's it. That's what it boils down to. You can focus on your needs, try to satisfy your needs, pursue your needs, do it your way, whatever that means, and you're going to get depressed. Or you can focus on who needs you. We exist because we are needed. That's who we are. We are necessary, not always lovable. Mm-hmm. God doesn't say, I always love you. But he does say, I always need you, even when I hate you. So that's the choice in life. And it's a new insight. We've never understood or appreciated this. You don't have to be needy. But you are needed. So when your needs fail, give it up. Do something for someone else. Find out who needs you, and you have a life. If you're just thinking about what you need, you just have survival. It's depressing.
It's a powerful concept right there. And to end it off on something light, 2 words for you. Bob Dylan. I was told that there's a story there.
He's a singer.
Yeah.
You knew that.
That I'm familiar with. Yeah.
You know Benny's really good joke? My son?
Wow. Nachas, let's hear it.
He gets up on stage and he says, hey, I'm not the only famous Jewish singer from Minnesota. There's also Bob Dylan. And between the two of us, we have sold millions of albums.
That's very funny. I think a lot of people don't know about Benny that he's a very funny and witty guy. He's sharp. I wonder where he gets that from.
Yeah, I wonder. Dylan?
Yeah, tell me. Yes.
Fell in love with the Rebbe.
Fell in love with the Rebbe. How? You made that connection?
No, I think it started before. But to him, the Rebbe was the ultimate nonconformist. And he loved it. He loved it. There was one time he heard that the Rebbe wasn't feeling well. I don't know how. Somebody said something. The Rebbe was suffering from sciatica.
Sciatica?
You know, his leg. Yeah. So somebody said, no, the Rebbe's not feeling well. He hopped on a plane, came to 770.
Really?
Stood by the door when the Rebbe came out from Mincha. Saw the Rebbe walk briskly to his. Oh, he's okay. He flew back.
That's true story.
True story.
Wow. Look at that. Amazing.
If you go to the oil late at night, you might meet him.